Harry Reasoner, Barbara Walters, bring you the news.
Good evening. Two more prospective members of Jimmy Carter's cabinet went to Capitol Hill today to face the Senate committees that will have to recommend confirmation by the full Senate. One cabinet nominee ran into a little trouble, although confirmation appears likely. Barbara?
We'll also have a comment by Howard K. Smith suggesting that cabinet appointees should not be experts. We'll see Claudine Longet on the first day of her manslaughter trial in Colorado. We'll have a close-up report on why there are so many oil tankers registered in Liberia and Panama. And our newsmaker interview is with Rupert Murdoch, the newspaper emperor who has the whole publishing world concerned. Harry?
When the Senate Commerce Committee met on Friday to start confirmation hearings for Congressman Brock Adams, they practically stood up and cheered. His confirmation as Transportation Secretary seems assured. Today, the committee members were a little more restrained in their enthusiasm as they questioned Juanita Kreps, Jimmy Carter's choice for Commerce Secretary. But no real problems appeared. Mrs. Kreps promised to put her $100,000 stock and bond holdings in a blind trust to avoid any conflict of interest. And she spoke in favor of a strong law to punish American firms that cooperate with the Arab boycott of Israel. Frank Reynolds tells us from Washington that a third Carter nominee had a slightly rougher reception.
Patricia Roberts Harris, Jimmy Carter's choice to be Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Mrs. Harris is black, bright, and beautiful, and Republicans as well as Democrats praised her today. But Senator William Proxmire criticized her lack of housing experience, and noting that she is now a successful Washington lawyer and a member of the boards of several corporations, wondered whether she could be responsive to the poor and the oppressed.
I am a black woman, the daughter of a dining car waiter. I am a black woman who, even 8 years ago, could not buy a house in some parts of the District of Columbia. Senator, to say I am not by and of and for the people is to show a lack of understanding of who I am and where I came from.
Your answer is that you have no problem with this because you're a black woman.
No, that is not my answer.
Is that right or not? Well, then what is your answer?
My answer, you spoke of the unrepresented and the poor, and I said, I am one of them. I have been a defender of women, of minorities, of those who are the outcasts of this society throughout my life. And if my life has any meaning at all, it is that those who start as outcasts may end up being part of the system. And I hope it will mean one other thing, Senator, that by being part of the system, one does not forget what it meant to be outside it. Because I assure you that while there may be others who forget what it meant to be excluded from the dining rooms of this very building, I shall never forget it.
That's a very reassuring and inspiring answer.
Later, Proxmire said Mrs. Harris was a smash hit as a witness, but he still has not decided whether to vote for her confirmation. He admitted he is definitely in the minority. Frank Reynolds, ABC News, Washington.
5 more Carter cabinet nominees face Senate committees tomorrow. There is certain opposition to only one, Griffin Bell for Attorney General. The Congressional Black Caucus, the NAACP, and others are unhappy with his rulings in desegregation cases while he was a federal judge.
The AFL-CIO tonight came out against the economic plan spelled out by Jimmy Carter last Friday. The Labor Federation issued a statement saying that the 2-year package is too small, takes too long, and will not provide the economy with the stimulus it needs.
Pete, how do you spell relief?
When I get acid indigestion, I spell relief R-O-L-A.
Whoa, I have gas.
I spell the same for gas. R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Rolaids spells relief. In this test with Rolaids active ingredient, laboratory acid changes color to prove Rolaids consumes 47 times its weight in excess stomach acid.
Now, how do you spell relief?
R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
For acid indigestion and gas, Rolaids spells relief.
Are you a denture wearer?
Yes, I am.
Do you use extra strength Efferdent?
No, I don't.
Would you try Efferdent on the stained denture material?
I sure will. The stain is just so bad on there.
Stains between teeth usually are, but watch Efferdent with its 5 cleaning ingredients attack stubborn stains. In minutes, the job's done.
Efferdent's done a really good job. It's really great. And this is clean in between. I'm going to go out and buy some.
Extra strength Efferdent removes even stubborn stains between teeth in minutes.
Claudine Longet went on trial in Aspen, Colorado this morning. She is charged with felony manslaughter in the shooting death of ski champion Vladimir Sabich. Ms. Longet and Sabich were living together when he was killed last March. Defense attorney said last week that the shooting was accidental. Prosecutors have said that Sabich died because of Ms. Longet's reckless conduct. Julie Eckert wraps up the first day of the trial from Colorado.
Claudine Longet seemed tired and anxious as she walked to court for the first day of testimony. It had taken a full week to select a jury. Just about everybody in Aspen knew either Miss Longet or the victim. Many of the prospective jurors had said they already believed she was guilty. That left her nervous about the trial. The trial had attracted so much interest from reporters that Judge George Lohr agreed to allow some filming inside the courtroom. Then the jury was sworn in. Judge Lohr reminded them to avoid any media coverage of the trial, but he did not have the jury sequestered. Then the prosecutor gave his opening statement, how he would prove that Miss Longet was guilty of reckless manslaughter. He said she had told authorities that Spider Sabich was planning to go out of town, leaving Miss Longet and her 3 children behind. She feared for their safety and got hold of a handgun. According to the prosecution, she was asking Sabich how to use it. Then she pointed the gun directly at Sabich and jokingly said, "Bang, bang." The gun fired, and Sabich was fatally wounded. Security guard Roy Griffith told the jury he was one of the first on the scene. Miss Longet told him that she had shot Spider, but it was an accident. Under cross-examination, Griffith said Miss Longet had also cried, "Help him, help him." Miss Longet's defense attorney postponed making an opening statement. He said he isn't sure yet who his witnesses will be. But he has said before that the defense will center on Miss Longet's own account of the shooting. And he said she will describe her relationship with Sabich to counter talk that the two of them hadn't been getting along. Julie Eckert, ABC News, Aspen, Colorado.
Philip Berrigan, the former priest, and 6 others were sentenced to 30 days in jail or $100 fines today in Americus, Georgia, in connection with a protest against the spread of nuclear weapons. The protesters appeared outside Jimmy Carter's house in Plains on Saturday night. They were charged with parading without a permit.
In Washington, the Supreme Court agreed today to hear a case that could affect hundreds of thousands of veterans. The court said it will rule whether private companies must give veterans credit for time spent in military service when those companies compute their pension benefits. The court also refused to interfere in the case of South Boston High School, which was taken over by a federal court in 1975. The local school committee therefore lost its efforts to win back control of the school. South Boston High was the scene of racial fights and other trouble during desegregation moves in the winter of 1975.
A small American oil tanker broke in 2 in gale winds off Cape Ann on the Massachusetts coast today. The stern half sank, and 7 crewmen huddled on the bow awaiting rescue. 6 of them were taken off by the Coast Guard, but 1 man was lost. A 2nd man died later in the hospital. The ship, the Chester Poling, was empty of oil. This was the 11th tanker mishap in or near American waters, and the 3rd tanker loss off the New England coast in less than a month. Just today, the Coast Guard abandoned the search for the tanker Grand Zenith, which vanished 10 days ago with more than 8 million gallons of oil and a crew of 38. All of these tankers, all 11 of them, have in common their relatively small size, and 9 of the 11 have something else in common. They were registered under foreign flags of convenience, 7 of them in Liberia, 2 in Panama. In today's close-up report, Lem Tucker looked into those common factors and to the safety factor as well.
The Esso Hong Kong had spent 5 days at sea coming from Aruba. Still, one of the roughest parts of the small tanker's journey is ahead, getting through the busy New York harbor and into her New Jersey port. That is why this man boarded the ship before daylight. He is an Exxon docking pilot and knows these waters like most of us know our way to work.
Raster, all right.
Together with a captain who's been a senior ship's officer for 10 years, this 557-foot ship, her holds brimming with more than 200,000 barrels of fuel oil, will make it safely to port. Esso Hong Kong flies the Liberian flag. In fact, more than half of Exxon's 153 ships worldwide are registered in Liberia or Panama. Exxon officials say there are advantages to that. Economically, because the crew can be hired from anywhere in the world, wherever the pay scale is most advantageous, helping, says Exxon, keep oil costs down. For example, this crew is Filipino, making much more than the average wage in their home country, but less than Exxon would have to pay an American crew. Politically, Liberian and Panamanian ships can go almost anywhere in the world, almost any time. And no amount of political pique during an oil boycott or Middle East war kept them from making their appointed rounds. Those are some of the reasons why 30% of all the oil tankers in the world are registered in Liberia. That many ships flying one flag means increased odds of some of them being involved in whatever accidents occur. But with a rash of tanker accidents, many people are wondering if the Liberian flag might not also be used to get away with substandard ships and crews.
Admittedly, Liberia historically had a poorer than average operation as a flag of registry. But there has been a tremendous amount of effort put into improving that operation in the last 5 years or more, primarily in the form of more stringent licensing requirements for personnel and the establishment of a worldwide vessel annual inspection program by a force of 150 inspectors. We can find good ships and poor ships in almost any flag. The most important aspect of the quality of operation of any ship is the owner's policy toward operating, crewing, and maintaining that ship.
There is one other point to be made. No American harbor can yet handle supertankers. That means small ships like this one and medium-sized tankers have to make many more trips into U.S. ports to supply our oil needs. That many trips by ships of varying age and quality, manned by crews of varying proficiency, not only increases the odds of oil spills, it almost makes them inevitable. Lem Tucker, ABC News, Bayonne, New Jersey.
The government reported today that retail sales in December were 3% higher than in November. The monthly increase was the largest in more than 4.5 years. Sales in December totaled nearly $57.5 billion. There was little movement in stock prices today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained nearly 4 points to close at 986.87. Standard & Poor's Index was up 0.19. The American Stock Exchange Index closed down 0.01.
The look, the smell, the taste of fresh ground roast coffee. Taster's Choice 100% freeze-dried coffee looks and smells like ground roast and tastes like fresh perked. And for you decaffeinated drinkers, Taster's Choice decaffeinated. Green labels, same fresh perked flavor. Ground roast and Taster's Choice. Just try to taste the difference.
It can't work. It hurts to swallow.
Joe, your throat's sore. You'll lose your job.
Oh, it hurts to swallow.
Orison throat lozenges help you swallow.
For temporary relief of minor sore throat pain, Orison combines benzocaine and icy menthol in Vicks exclusive soothing formula to cool like no leading lozenge.
Throat feels cool.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to swallow as much.
Have a good day.
The Great Sword Swallower, come feeding!
Vicks Orison in regular or new cherry. Relief with every swallow.
The automotive world has always looked to Mercedes-Benz for ingenuity and innovation. And Mercedes-Benz has always produced automobiles that are unique, timeless, significant, legendary cars. Today's Mercedes-Benz automobiles are no exception. They're living proof that at Mercedes-Benz, the legend continues.
The kangaroo one. Oh, my stomach.
Dear.
Who are you?
I'm Mother Tums. Tell me where it hurts.
Acid indigestion, gas.
Take Tums for the tummy.
Are they strong?
For neutralizing acid, Tums are 1/3 stronger for the money than the other leading tablet.
Thanks, Mother Tums. Oh, Vern, hey, did you hear the one about the kangaroo? You'll love this one.
Tums, 1/3 stronger.
There.
A terrorist bomb was set off in the Moscow subway over the weekend. Official reports said 3 persons were killed. Witnesses said 3 men left a package under a seat and got off at the next stop. Unofficially, there were reports of 2 other explosions in Moscow Saturday night. Barbara?
This man's name is Rupert Murdoch. 2 weeks ago, you probably never heard of him. Perhaps you still haven't. But today, Murdoch's face is on the covers of both Time and Newsweek magazines, and there's hardly a newspaper in the country not interested in him. Why? Because Murdoch, a 45-year-old Australian, in a single week took control of the New York Post, which he had bought a month earlier, and then after a bitter fight, bought Zippy New York magazine and another New York newspaper, the Village Voice. Earlier today, we paid Rupert Murdoch a visit in the huge office of the previous owner of the New York Post, and you'd never have known he was the victorious new publishing emperor. Murdoch is married, has 4 children, lives quietly in New York. His publishing empire was chiefly in Australia and England. Now it embraces 84 papers and 13 magazines. Most of his papers, like the National Star, which he publishes here, deal with sex and scandal, flesh and flash. He likes the local news on television, thinks network news is pompous. He's a working publisher, has political views. He's undoubtedly a power, but what kind of power, what views, what kind of newspapers? We asked. Mr. Murdoch, this is a copy of your paper in London, The Sun. And there's a nude lady on the page 3, and it talks about Jackie's love line. It's not Jackie Onassis, it's another Jackie. The Squealer's own story, and a masked man on the front page, the history of British crime. This is what worries people here. This is what we're afraid we're going to get from you.
Well, they can relax. That's for an English market. It's well accepted. No, they don't. 4 million people buy it every day in London. 14 million people, 16 million enjoy it. But that's a different audience. They're English people. They seem to like that. The opposition paper, which is very similar, has the same sort of material. In fact, the biggest headline there refers to a very serious educational argument. What's going on with the Minister for Education? You mentioned The Squealer. That's a promotion for a feature serial coming a week later.
But this is not the kind of paper you're going to put out here.
Certainly not, no. It's a different market. There are different people. There are different rules.
Are English people different from American people in what they want to read?
Yes.
Why?
I think their tastes are different. And the newspapers are much more specialized. It's a very stratified society in England. One could say it's a decaying society in some ways, but it is very stratified. And people produce newspapers for one strata or another, or one segment of a strata. You have 50 million people, you can divide the market up. In this country, you have to produce community newspapers. And our job is to produce a newspaper for the community of New York and everybody in it.
Do you have a particular political point of view?
Yes, I do.
What is
it? I do. I would treat myself as a moderate liberal. I think on social issues, I'm fairly liberal by any standards. Fiscally, perhaps I'm a little bit more conservative.
And your newspapers will reflect your political and particular point of view?
I don't think that New York Magazine will, but the Post certainly will be reflecting my thinking, yes. We're extremely serious about everything we do in all our newspapers. I noticed Time magazine said that the Sydney Daily Mirror, for instance, was full of sex. And nothing could be further from the truth. It does use big headlines. It does have a lot about football matches. It does cover things which interest people. It's a successful, popular newspaper. The trouble in this country is that the newspapers have become monopolies. Everybody's sent to a journalism school. And they're all taking themselves, I'm afraid, rather too seriously.
What do you want for the future, Mr. Murdoch? Where do you want to go? What do you want to buy?
I don't want to go anywhere else. I have my hands very full. It's more than a lifetime work ahead of me to make the Post and these other publications viable and strong and something we can all be proud of.
Is this it for now?
It's it forever, I hope.
Murdoch also told me that as a publisher, he wouldn't have put himself on the covers of Time or Newsweek. Won't sell magazines, he said.
What would your grandmother say about the good old-fashioned taste of new Jell-O Americana rice pudding?
Tastes good and old-fashioned, all right.
Tastes so creamy.
Jell-O brand Americana desserts, new rice pudding, tapioca, and golden egg custard. Our pudding and your fresh milk bring back the rich, good taste of long ago.
Great rice pudding.
Whose recipe is this?
My dentures got so dingy and yellow, I hardly ever smiled. People stopped calling me Smiley and started calling me Curly. Then I started brushing with Denture Cream. Denture Cream's anti-yellowing formula gets rid of dingy yellow film. And Denture Cream helps keep the yellow from coming back because it polishes better. Better than ever. Yellow dentures took away my smile. Denture Cream's anti-yellowing formula gave me back my smile.
Dinner's ready, Smiley.
Acid indigestion sufferers, all antacids are not alike. Digel is different. It's antacid and anti-gas. These laboratory mixtures illustrate the misery of acid indigestion complicated by gas. We'll compare a plain antacid to Digel. Watch. Plain antacids are not made to relieve this problem. But the Digel difference gives fast relief from excess acid plus fast relief from gas. Compare for yourself. Get the Digel difference.
Introducing a remarkable new nasal spray that lasts and lasts up to 12 continuous hours. Introducing New Duration, the nasal spray that relieves up to 12 continuous hours. Duration helps relieve nasal stuffiness and sinus congestion, so just one use lets you work all day. Just one use lets you sleep all night. New Duration relieves and relieves up to 12 continuous hours, and that's duration.
We reported earlier on the Senate confirmation hearing involving Patricia Harris. Mrs. Harris came in for some criticism because she lacked experience in the housing field. In his comment tonight, Howard K. Smith discusses our way of selecting cabinet officials and finds fault with it. Howard?
A subject brought up abstractly in this space a while back became a concrete instance today when Ms. Patricia Harris appeared before Senator Proxmire's committee today for confirmation as Mr. Carter's Secretary for Housing. The abstract subject is, which is the better way to choose cabinet secretaries? The American way of choosing experts in the field, or the way of all other democracies of choosing brilliant generalists who are not experts? I tend to favor the non-American way. Lifelong experts often bring preconceptions to their job. They can rarely yield to an opposing view without seeming to repudiate a whole career's thinking. An intelligent generalist, on the other hand, can hire expert subordinates, ask them the kind of basic common sense questions too rarely asked, and, unbound by any preconceptions, choose the one or the combination that fits. The senator today rather vehemently objected to Ms. Harris's absence of experience in housing. Ms. Harris equally firmly stood by her unusually wide-ranging experience in life. The daughter of a black railroad worker, graduation at the top of her law class, dean of a law school, a businesswoman, America's first black woman ambassador to a foreign country. With a record like that of mastering against every obstacle, every new field she's entered, Ms. Harris has every chance of confirming Mr. Carter's judgment and my thesis. Wide-ranging brilliance is rare and to be treasured. Expertise can be hired. Barbara?
Thank you, Howard. This is President Ford's last full week in the White House, a time of ceremonies, a time of handing out awards and rewards, a time of summing up. Today in the East Room of the White House, the President presented the Medal of Freedom to 22 Americans, achievers all. White House correspondent Tom Jarrell was at the ceremony.
This was Mr. Ford's way of honoring some of his and the nation's favorite people. Many of the recipients are elderly, but virtually all are still active. Their backgrounds varied from science, literature, labor in the military, to politics and baseball. America's only living five-star general was presented the nation's highest civilian award. Former big leaguer Dom DiMaggio accepted for his brother Joe.
Known and revered around the world as the Yankee Clipper, he contributed many years of style and splendid ability to the sport, which has come to be known as our national pastime.
Texas was represented.
Lady Bird Johnson.
Boston Pops Orchestra leader Arthur Fiedler arrived late, but he made it.
Violinist, conductor, and musical innovator, Maestro Fiedler has bridged the gap between popular and classical music.
Mr. Ford's power may be in its waning days, but until January 20th, his authority to recognize talented citizens, like the music of Arthur Fiedler, remains undiminished. Tom Jarwell, ABC News at the White House.
Henry Kissinger made his last public appearance in Washington as Secretary of State today. He was at the National Press Club, and for a man about to lose his job, the Secretary was in a good mood. Barry Dunsmore reports that the audience made sure of that.
Kissinger, the ladies' man, was one of his favorite images, and so the National Press Club marked the memory of that one-time swinger with the performance of one of his favorite dances. The lady is actually a schoolteacher from Vienna, Virginia. As he has on so many occasions, Kissinger warmed up his audience by making fun of himself.
I've been called indispensable and a miracle worker. I know because I remember every word I say.
But it wasn't all jokes. At times, Kissinger was downright nostalgic, saying that it would be hypocritical if he pretended that to part was easy. He was also philosophical as he talked about developing a foreign policy amid what he called the trauma of Vietnam and the nightmare of Watergate. Kissinger was at his most serious in denying claims that his policies may have allowed the Soviets to gain strategic supremacy.
I do not believe that the Soviet Union is achieving military supremacy over the United States. I do not believe that any American administration would permit a situation to arise in which the Soviet Union could achieve strategic superiority over the United States.
Kissinger also paid tribute to President Ford. In his words, his strength and decency calmed our troubled land. In contrast, he had little to say about Richard Nixon, except this comment when asked for a reaction to Nixon's claim that he was the primary idea man behind Kissinger's policies.
My comment is that I'll write my book after he completes his.
Barry Dunsmore, ABC News, Washington.
And that's tonight's news. For Harry and me, good evening.
Hiya, Ruby. Did you get the job? 3 offers, but nothing I want. Have you ever tried Snelling and Snelling? Snelling and Snelling? It's the world's largest employment service. They found that great job for Harry.
At Snelling and Snelling, trained counselors will find you that special job. They do the looking. You don't.
Well, Snelling and Snelling found me the perfect job.
At Snelling and Snelling, the job you're looking for is looking for you.
For this headache, you want a lot of pain reliever fast. But before taking Bayer or Anacin, look how much more Bufferin delivered in 20 minutes. In studies, 2 Anacin averaged this much in the bloodstream, Bayer this much, Bufferin much more pain reliever. Look at this difference with Bufferin. And Bufferin adds special stomach protection ingredients Bayer and Anacin don't give you. Bufferin, much more pain reliever sooner, and stomach protection.
Monday, it's a crack-up with the best of Laverne and Shirley.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Fonz. Who is this guy?
The Laverne and Shirley Birthday Show, tonight on ABC.
You have acne? So did I. But this new acne medicine, Dry and Clear, gave me visible results in 5 days.
Dry and Clear's exfoliator N12 is so effective, dermatologists are recommending it. Look, day 1. Dry and Clear starts flaking away dead, blemished skin layers, opens clogged pores, reveals healthy new skin. Day 5.
What a difference! You can have visibly clearer skin in 5 days.
Try the new acne medicine Dry and Clear.